Welcome to Southern California, the mecca of college basketball for this particular Thursday night. It's time for West Coast Conference hoops, and just 3 weeks remain in the conference season, and the nation's #1 team, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, are in LA to face the Loyola-Marymount Lions. Alongside former Gonzaga standout Dan Dickau, I'm Steve Quis. Thanks for making us part of your evening here tonight. Gonzaga is #1 in the polls for the second consecutive week. They're still the only unbeaten team in Division I college basketball, and it's hard, Dan, when you're 24-0 to single out one guy, but Nigel Williams-Goss is in the discussion for Player of the Year nationally.
You're absolutely right. This Gonzaga team is deep and versatile, and Nigel Williams-Goss, to me, wasn't even in the discussion for Player of the Year in the West Coast Conference a month ago, but now he is in the conversation nationally for Player of the Year. He's continuing to improve. He can score at all three levels, at the three-point line, mid-range, as well as getting to the basket. I tell you what, he is the bus driver for this Gonzaga basketball team, does everything for the Zags.
And he should be back on the floor tonight after the sore ankle kept him out last game. Let's talk about LMU. They're a completely different team when they're at home. They played St. Mary's tough in this building. They played BYU tough in this building. They played UConn tough. They've got a veteran point guard in Brandon Brown that can keep them in late in games against very good teams.
Well, LMU is much improved in year 2 under Mike Dunlap. They can score in a number of different ways, but the guy that really gets them going is Brandon Brown. The senior from Arizona can score in a number of different ways, but what's interesting about him is for a little guy at under 6 feet, he can really get in the paint and create, and he can finish through contact. Gonzaga needs to make life extremely difficult for him this evening.
Well, the Zags are hoping to leave Los Angeles a perfect 25-0. LMU looking for a big upset against one of the big three. Tip-off is coming up next. West Coast Conference basketball brought to you in part by Geico, saving you money on car insurance, and by Northern Quest Resort, your ultimate destination for fun. We're in Los Angeles on a Thursday night for WCC basketball. #1 Gonzaga on the road at Loyola-Marymount, a spot the Zags haven't lost at since 2010. Steve Quis, Dan Dickau with you, welcoming you inside Gersten Pavilion. Let's check out the starting lineups presented by Numerica Credit Union. Pay bills, deposit checks, and access your accounts 24/7 with mobile banking at Numerica Credit Union. The Zags feature 3 starters who average in double figures. Nigel Williams-Goss leading the way with 15. He's back on the floor after missing last game with a sore ankle. LMU may start these 5, but they use all 12 of their players on the roster, and they'll try and do that for a 4th straight game. So it's going to be all hands on deck tonight against #1 ranked Gonzaga. Let's check in with the 3rd member of our team, Kelly Tennant. Kelly?
Thank you, Steve. You know, LMU hosting the #1 team in the country for just the 3rd time in program history. Gonzaga coming into this one #1 for the 2nd straight week in a row. 2nd time in program history. But when I was talking to Donnie Daniels, Gonzaga's assistant, earlier today, he said, you know what, we know we're #1, but the thing about us is we're from Spokane. We don't have billboards of ourselves everywhere. We're not constantly reminded. All we know is that we come in and we do our jobs, we put in the work, and that is showing itself every single day.
Thanks, Kelly. Time for the keys to the game. Northern Quest is your ultimate destination for fun. Stay in a luxurious hotel, see a spectacular show, eat in the finest restaurants at Northern Quest. Visit northernquest.com for details. My partner, the Gonzaga standout, all the way back in 2002, Dan Dickau. These are his keys, so I'll hold you accountable, young man, if anything goes wrong tonight.
Well, Gonzaga must know a scouting report. LMU go 12 deep. You must know tendencies and weakness for all 12 guys. Don't look ahead to the big showdown against St. Mary's on Saturday that everybody knows about. For Loyola-Marymount, get easy buckets, especially getting off to a good start. Getting buckets in transition, getting easy looks, and use their fouls. If you're going to go 12 deep, take away easy opportunities for the Zags. Put them on the line if that is the case.
Ready to go inside Gersten Pavilion, where we're told it will not be a sellout here tonight. There are some empty seats.
Surprising. You mentioned in the open, another big-time college game just up the road, Oregon and UCLA.
Shimmick Karnowski as the opening bucket in the paint. That was just too easy.
Well, that's what Gonzaga wants to do, is establish the interior inside of this game. Shimmick Karnowski find the open area in the middle.
And nearly a steal. Instead, there's going to be a foul on Boy Tosh, so it results in a turnover. There is Nigel Williams-Goss back in. Didn't play on Saturday against Santa Clara. Certainly they didn't need him. But the ankle looks as close to 100% as it can be when you're playing here in early to mid-February.
He put the Zags on his back in Provo the other night. Scored 33 points. Was dominant in that second half.
That's just too easy a mismatch inside. Shamar Johnson's a big guy at 6'7", but Karnowski skies all over him at 7'1". He's got the first 2 opening baskets for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. As Kelly was talking about, LMU has played #1 teams before, but this is the first time the top-ranked team in the nation will actually play inside Gersten Pavilion. 2 times #1 has come to this campus, but it was over at Alumni Hall where they used to play their home games.
USF Dons, wasn't it? It was before my time.
UNLV. I think USF came in here twice. They played UNLV when they've been #1. Williams-Goss back the other way, and it got swatted. Header Herman in the starting lineup. Boytosh on the run out. Well, they've done that before in this building. They played St. Mary's tough before New Year's Day. They had an 18-point lead on this floor against BYU and lost it. UConn came in here. Great offensive rebound of a putback there by Jonathan Williams.
That's what he does. He is a energizer bunny on the offensive glass. That time, Shimon Karnowski, nice move, couldn't quite get the finish, but Williams there to clean up the mess.
6-2 start for the Bulldogs. We don't miss many shots in the first place. Here's the Central Florida transfer, and that's Stephen Haney off the mark. By the way, we touched upon the mecca of college basketball as it goes over the top to Karnowski, and he's fouled by Herman. Just up the road, 11 miles away on the 405, you've got #5 Oregon taking on #10 UCLA. So within 11 miles of one another, 3 of the top 10 teams in the country playing.
Yeah, it could be a very exciting night for basketball in the college ranks in Southern California. But there you see the fast break getting Loyola-Marymount out in transition. Koch with a nice finish.
Here's Karnowski at the free throw line. After the foul by Herman is first. Karnowski just last week named to the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar watch list. That goes to the top center in college hoops. There's only 10 guys on the watch list, and 3 of them are out of the West Coast Conference.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Jock Landale with St. Mary's, Eric Mika at BYU alongside Shema Karnowski.
That's going to be a turnover. Boytosh was hoping one of his teammates would be there, and instead he throws it right into my partner's belly right here.
Hey, I
still
got
got
it.
the hand.
I was ready to shoot it. Hey, trust me, I played on this floor years ago. I'd love to get another shot out there.
What were you telling me? 34 first-half points in this building the last time you came in here?
Yeah, my senior year, 34 points in the first half, 9 threes.
That's not an alternative fact, is it?
No, it's nice to say I was on fire that night.
Williams backs in on the Oregon transfer, Trevor Manuel. And it's going to be LMU basketball. There's your former head coach, Mark Few. 490 career wins and over 200 in the West Coast Conference alone.
He's got to be in the conversation for National Coach of the Year. We mentioned Williams-Goss, potential National Player of the Year, but Coach Few has replaced 2 NBA players and has them not missing a single beat.
One thing that LMU does particularly well, they're second in the conference in offensive rebounds, and you saw the Oregon transfer Manuel get one there. And that's going to be off of Gonzaga, off of Josh Perkins out of bounds, and a rare turnover. And Mike Dunlap's team has possession of the basketball. He's in his 3rd year, and they've done a nice turnaround from year 1 to 2, and got an outside chance of improving in year 3 on year 2.
Yeah, I like what he's done. He's brought in more talent. I like his philosophy as a coach. They do a really good job spacing you, moving you, and getting into pick and roll actions. A lot of that has to do with his NBA background. Head coach with the Charlotte Hornets. Was an assistant coach for a long time in the NBA as well.
And where hasn't Mike Dunlap been? Arizona for a while. Over the top to Williams, and Manuel got a piece of it. And LMU will have the basketball trailing by 3. And Lions looking for the time. They'll get it on the back end by Matt Brown.
Well, this is the start that the Lions needed. couple easy buckets, get a few things to fall your way. That time, the bank was open from straight away.
Here's Matthews trying to equalize with 3, and this time down the floor, the Lions can take a rare lead against Gonzaga. Here's Tosh. Haney is their three-point marksman, and there it is.
We talk about knowing scouting reports is a key for Gonzaga. The scouting report for Stephen Haney is run him off the three-point line. That's what he wants to do.
3 guys guarding Karnowski, and on the drive, Perkins is fouled by Haney. Well, the Zags haven't trailed much since they've been #1. They haven't trailed much in the last month. Hadn't trailed in 13 halves, 266 minutes until last Saturday against Santa Clara when they were down 5-4. They trail LMU on the road here tonight. An 8-0 run by LMU has the Lions on top of #1 ranked Gonzaga early by 3. The Zags have won 16 in a row in this series, but LMU came through 7 years ago, their last win against Gonzaga on this home floor by 8, February the 18th, 2010.
Hey, you listening to Coach Dunlap at that break. He's talking about we are not going to win it in one possession with a home run play. Make the simple play, move the ball side to side. That is so key, is giving the defense an opportunity to make a mistake.
Roger Williams-Goss lobs it up over the top, and scoring it is Zach Collins, the 7-foot freshman from Vegas.
What a luxury to bring a McDonald's All-American off your bench. Limited minutes this year because he's playing behind Shimon Karnowski. Averages over 10 points. About 7 rebounds in about 18 minutes a game. That young man has a bright future.
66% field goal shooter. This game featuring the top 3 shooters in the West Coast Conference. Collins, Karnowski, and Williams. The bigs get good looks like that, and it's hard to guard those guys up front.
And the crazy thing is Collins' percentage has gone down in league play. In non-conference, he was up around 71%.
That's a turnover by LMU. Haney to the Hawaii transfer, Jovanovic. The foul prior was on Collins. Picks up his first.
See Brandon Brown applying a little pressure in the backcourt. LMU will change the looks up defensively. They'll give you a little three-quarter court trap action, a little run and jump. Make you think as a point guard what you're doing out there.
3 from the outside. Killian Tilly. Killian Tilly.
Freshman from France, continuing to show off his versatility. Only his 11th 3 on the year, but he's got the ability and the freedom to take open looks from the 3.
And Zach Collins just got called for his second, and we're less than 6 minutes in.
Josh Perkins reading Trevor Manuel, overextending on the help. Killian Tilly, hands and feet ready, knocking it down, but Zach Collins picking up his second foul, having to go to the bench early. And if there's been one Achilles heel for him this year as a freshman, is he's had, at times, gotten into foul trouble, but that's to be expected as a freshman.
LMU has it. They're now trailing by 2 after being outscored 5-0 to start after the media timeout. This is Munis Tutu, the sophomore from Canada. He'll spell Brandon Brown at the point when Brown needs a rest. Jeffrey McClendon to Manuel, the Oregon transfer. 4 to shoot. McClendon dishes it off, and a foul will be called with 2 to go on the shot clock.
Now Coach Few can't be happy about that. They have a breakdown at the end of the shot clock, and then you foul. At that point, contest the shot, block out, make sure you get the rebound, move on to the offensive end.
And Jovanovic, who is a good shooter at Hawaii, misfires. Perkins was called for the foul prior, his first.
I think that was miscommunication there by Jovanovic. I think he thought that the shot clock was still at 2 when it actually reset. That's not something he's normally going to do, is a quick trigger from 3 on an inbounds.
And you know, they can ill afford turnovers. I mean, you can in any basketball game, but especially when you're going against #1 Gonzaga. The first time around up at the Kennel, LMU turned it over 10 times in the first half, but was still in it. It was the 10 second half turnovers in which the Zags blew right past them and buried them.
Gonzaga's program for so long was built on great offense. And in the last couple of years, that's really kind of switched. Gonzaga's top 5 defensive efficiency across the country. They can play defensively in a number of ways. They can zone you, they can man you, they can press you full court, 3/4 court. Their length and their versatility is impressive on the defensive end, something they haven't had in the past.
Williams-Goss on the baseline with a reverse and count it. Now I think you see why he's on the late season wooden watch list.
Just the patience in probing along the baseline here. Gets forced down on the baseline. A little head and shoulder fake, gets the defense up, draws the contact, finishes it with a chance for the 3-point play.
Missed the Santa Clara game with a sore ankle. He practiced Tuesday and Wednesday. He rolled that ankle in the first half against BYU. The same ankle he had surgically repaired last season when he was sitting out after transferring from Washington. That was his first made field goal. It didn't look like didn't look at all like the ankle's bothering him.
I watched him closely in pregame. He looked fine. Talking to assistant coach Tommy Lloyd, he said he's fine.
Sticking with the Lions, substitution now for the Zags. Jordan Matthews, the Cal graduate transfer, spells Josh Perkins. LMU will make a substitution. Boyd Tosh for Stephen Haney. Lions are 11-12 overall, 4-8, tied for 6th in the conference. And really their problem has been foul trouble, not making free throws when they have opportunities, and quite frankly finishing. They've been in a lot of close games, including 6 games decided by 1 point. And just able to get it off before the shot clock. Let's see. It looked like it went down. Yeah, the officials want to take a look. That was Lucas Tutu put it up. I think he got it off in time.
I would agree, Steve. Looked to me like he got it off, but the officials have the ability to go to the monitor and take a second look. But you talk about LMU and some of their close game struggles, not being able to win games. So much of it goes down to shooting from the free throw line. On the season, only shooting at about 61%. But we get to take another look at it. Tutu gets Shimon Karnowski up off the ground.
We don't have the shot clock. We don't have the shot clock there on the screen, but maybe you can see from above. I thought it got out of his hand with a split second to go. The officials are still looking at it. It's Michael Greenstein, Glenn Mayberry, and Kurt Walker, our crew. And they'll say no. Shot clock violation. He did not get it off in time.
It's the beauty of technology. You got the ability to go back and take a look at it.
And yeah, if you look up in the top left of your screen now you can see the 0 hit.
Good officials work there.
Yep. 4-point game early on. Oh, Karnowski, great pass inside, and cutting was Matthews, and he has an easy lane in for the bucket.
That's what Shimon Karnowski makes himself so much different than a lot of bigs. His ability to pass and understand the game, read situations, has grown immensely from a season ago when he sat out with a back surgery. That time finding Jordan Matthews on a screen and dive.
Zags have run off the last 9 coming out of the immediate timeout when they were down 10-7. They're up 6 now. Herman earning the start and rewarding his coach with points in the paint.
Only his 6th starter on the season. Obviously, they want to match up with Gonzaga's size a little bit more, giving him a little bit of production on the offensive end, which is a bonus.
He is a 57% shooter, but he doesn't take a lot of shots. He averages less than 3 points a game. So he got his there, 4-point game. Karnowski over the top again, trying to feed Tilly, and a foul is called. And that will bring us to a break. 11:41 to go, first half of play. It's been a pretty good ball game so far. That was not a good segment for LMU. They only get 2 points since the last media timeout, of the Lions trailing #1 Gonzaga by 4. A 4-point lead on the road tonight early on for #1 Gonzaga, 16-12. And healthy smiles are in. Find your favorite dentist at deltadental.com and ensure a healthier mouth for life. That's our smile cam, our smile of the game. And Munis Tutu picked up the foul before the break. LMU already, Dan Dick, out with 7 team fouls. having to try and guard the bigs of Gonzaga.
Well, that's not really an issue for the Lions. They go 12 deep, so they're not too concerned if guys get in foul trouble. They're willing to rotate guys in and out, keep guys fresh, put Gonzaga on the line when they get put in a bad spot.
This is Killian Tilly, the 6'10 freshman from France at the free throw line, who averages 5 points per game and coming off a 10-point effort the other night against Santa Clara.
He has a very high IQ. He's able to guard at least 3 positions, maybe even 4. I really love his versatility, his high IQ.
Brandon Brown back in the game now for the Lions. Boy, Tosh has it, having an exceptional season. And that's going to be out of bounds. It's going to stick with the Lions. Shimon Karnowski, they say, touched it last. Lions need a bucket here, partner. They're off to a good start at a 3-point lead at our first media timeout. Zags go on a 9-0 run.
Gonzaga is a team that is built on getting stops and getting runs, but Loyola-Marymount had the first big run of the day. 8-0 run to take that early lead.
Herman with the left hand on the penetration. Williams-Goss the rebound. Ahead it goes. That's going to be too easy for Tilly.
Good look up ahead by Nigel Williams-Goss, finding Tilly underneath. That's one of the underrated facets of Nigel Williams-Goss as a point guard, is his willingness to throw the ball up ahead. Because as a point guard, if you throw the ball up ahead early and often to whether it's your wings or your bigs, it sets the tone for the rest of the game to make guys willing to run. They might not get it every time later on in the game, but they'll continue to run if they've seen the rewards early in the game, just like that.
Mike Dunlap had that look on his face like, guys, what did I just tell you during that media timeout, for goodness sakes? And you let a guy get loose like that. You were telling me before the ballgame, as we were thinking back to 2002 when you played alongside Blake Stepp, and this is a good point. Maybe you can illustrate this more, is you like this Gonzaga team from a standpoint of, like your team, like one other in the past too, when you've got more than one guy that can handle the ball, you're probably going to go deep in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think this is one of Coach Few's best-built teams to make a run in the NCAA tournament because they've got multiple ball handlers and decision-makers. Nigel Williams-Goss, Josh Perkins can both handle the ball, make decisions, and make shots.
Shamar Johnson got the offensive rebound and puts it back into the bucket.
You look at the other Gonzaga team who climbed to #1 in the rankings. They also had 2 point guards who played a major role. David Stockton, Kevin Pangos, as well as Gary Bell Jr., who could play at times.
Herman got another big block. I think Karnowski thought that was a foul. So did a lot of people in the building. But I think they'll gladly trade the 2 for the Silas Nelson 3.
They traded 2 for a 3 any day of the week, but Brandon Brown getting creative. Semi-transition there. Killian Tilly picks up not a good foul. 40 feet away from the basket, reaching in.
Just the 4th team foul against the Zags, but keep in mind, Zach Collins, the McDonald's All-American, has 2 of them, and he's been on the bench since the 14-10 mark. Boy, Tosh trying to save that from going out of bounds. It'll be another LMU turnover. Already their 5th here, and we're not even halfway home in the first half.
Got to give Silas Nelson a lot of credit on that. Sniffed it out, saw what they were doing, was able to get through the screen, get in the passing lane, and Tosh loses it out of bounds.
Perkins will take the straightaway 3. Haney with a rebound. Bulldogs' 2nd week at #1. Just their 7th true road game of the season. They've all been WCC games, and they've won them all. Only unbeaten team still remaining in NCAA Division I. Nothing but blue shirts there to corral the rebound. Matthews gets credit for it.
Got Shemik Karnowski on the block. LMU got a good switch back.
They're only going to get away with this matchup a handful of times. And the foul on Trevor Manuel, the Oregon transfer. This is what impressed me about the Zags, having this guy back. The only other time I've seen him in person was against Arizona at Hoop Hall, LA, down here at the Staples Center. And They manhandled Arizona, and I'm convinced, too, they play again today, probably manhandle Arizona again.
Well, Karnowski poses so many problems, not only in this league, but nationally, because he commands a double team, and when it comes, he makes the right decision 99% of the time.
W.TV, your home for West Coast Conference action, featuring over 65 live WCC men's basketball games. Visit the W.TV from your browser, smartphone, tablet, or connected TV to watch live at a market games for free. W.TV, all the action anytime, anywhere. 10-point advantage for Gonzaga. It is their largest lead. Manuel from the baseline. This is a good get for them if his head is, in the right place. It not always is.
Absolutely. I was just going to make the comment. He's a good get for LMU, a transfer from Oregon out of Michigan. When he is playing well, he is a really good player in this league. He's got a bright future.
3-second violation against the Bulldogs. There was a time last month where Manuel just wasn't practicing hard enough and didn't find his way on the floor. Got back in the good graces of Mike Dunlap. Last game, he gets out there and he picks up 3 quick personals. And Brandon Brown buries the free throw line jumper.
Well, it goes back to what a lot of people say all the time. What is a coach's best friend? It's the bench. It gets guys to play hard.
That's a travel on Gonzaga. So back-to-back turnovers on the offensive end for the #1 team in the country. It's a 6-point game, and LMU this time down the floor can get a little bit closer to #1. Here's Brown, launches, and comes up short. Herman saves it from going out of bounds, but to Williams-Goss. Transition for the Zags back the other way. Matthews over Brown, and a foul will be called underneath. And they're going to get Stephen Haney Jr. is trying to secure the defensive rebound. Up.
It's pretty obvious with 2 officials staring right at you. You're not expecting Jordan Matthews to shoot an air ball from the corner, but Haney with 2 hands in the back of Jonathan Williams, pushing him under the glass. Easy call.
Well, while you watch West Coast Conference action, join the conversation using the hashtag WCCHoops. And for the latest news, scores, and more, follow WCC Hoops on Twitter. Here's Jonathan Williams, the redshirt junior, the Mizzou transfer, at the free throw line, coming in averaging 9.6 points per game. Gonzaga lead is 8. Tosh, and on the drive, he got fouled. Boy, Tosh's got a little extra giddy up here tonight.
Yeah, he's been aggressive. He's been playing well as of late. Had 16 the other night in the loss to San Francisco, but that time, a little attack of the rim. Get himself to the free throw line for 2.
Jonathan Williams, the foul. It's his first, and here is where LMU has struggled this season. They have just not been able to convert free throws. That's their first of the game that they've made. It's the first time they've been to the line. But they've gotten in foul trouble and have been unable to get easy points at the line. It's cost them a lot of games. Collins is back in with the 2 personal fouls. He wound up sitting for about 6 minutes.
Be interesting to see if Gonzaga goes to Collins, which they do right there. He's got about 8 inches on the plane, but Herman comes over from the help side, gets a little block shot, and then he talks a little trash.
That's his 3rd block. Jonathan Williams came away with a steal and then got tripped, and he's fouled by Brandon Brown. Wow, what has gotten into Herman here tonight? Breaking the action, 7:46 to go. Herman with his 3rd block already of this first half. He's keeping the Lions in it. #1 ranked Zags with a 7-point lead on the road here tonight at Gersten Pavilion.
Do you know a high school senior that excels athletically, academically, and is a standout in their community? If so, then nominate them for their chance to win a $2,500 scholarship. Visit SpectrumChamp.com for complete details.
What's our Shakey's time?
Party time!
Pizza, chicken,
Mojo's. A time to unwind. Game time.
lunchtime.
Family time. All day, every day.
It's always a good time for Shakey's.
Remember when everything you did was for the fun of doing it? BMW sports activity vehicles are the perfect combination of ample space, dynamic power, and sleek design. There truly is an X perfect for every adventure, so you can go wherever the fun takes you. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Lease a BMW X1 S-Drive 28i for $299 a month at a Southern California BMW center.
Laker fans, stand up and be heard.
We're back. Get excited.
Lake Show is your chance to connect with your favorite team.
This is Big Baby Jonathan.
I'm calling from San Dimas.
And hear what celebrities and fellow fans have to say about all the important issues of the day.
Ice in my veins.
Join host Jamie Maggio and Lakers insider Mike Bresnahan as they keep you connected to all things purple and gold.
You know, it's a pretty sweet setup.
Lake Show, tomorrow at 8:30, only on Spectrum SportsNet.
Welcome back to LMU. The Zags lead the Lions 26-19. It is time for our Arby's trivia question. So, Steve and Dan, I am posing this question to you. I hope you're ready. Of the top 10 single-season leading scorers during WCC play, how many played at Loyola-Marymount or Gonzaga? Think quickly.
Ooh, it's got to be half the list, right? Anthony Ireland, Kimball, Gathers. That's just the LMU guys.
Hank Gathers. I'm going to say Adam Morrison. Kyle Wiltshire had a heck of a year last year, and they had more games than they had in the past. And then I'm going to go back to the LMU Paul Westhead days. I bet you Fisher and Terrell Lowry.
How do we do, Kelly?
Pretty good. That's 6 guys. So you guys, I think you hit almost everyone, right?
I just didn't know Jim McCloskey. I apologize, Jim, if you're watching.
And I missed on Anthony Ireland. By the way, Hank Gathers still the WCC leading scorer. 87 through 90, 2,490 career points for Hank Gathers, and he did it in 89 games. The next closest guy, Kevin Foster, played in 133 games to score 2,423 points. I mean, it's amazing what Gathers did, both rebounding and scoring in the little time that we had him here at LMU before he left.
Yeah, he put up some monster numbers, that's for sure.
Williams at the free throw line after the Brandon Brown foul before he went to the break. That was his first. But LMU already with 10 team fouls, so in the double bonus will be the Zags for the remaining 7.5 minutes of this first half. Here's Manuel with an open look for 3. And the rebound run down by Jordan Matthews. The outlet pass goes ahead, and Manuel doing a nice job defensively to disrupt Zach Collins.
Well, that's a good job getting back in transition D by LMU, but if you're Jordan Matthews, that is a difficult pass to try to thread the needle on.
You know, LMU defensively gives up 70 points a game, but the one thing that they do particularly well, they force a league-high 14 turnovers a game, and they've turned the Zags over 3 times and almost a 4th right there. And a driving and bucket by the Bulldogs.
Something I'd like to see Josh do a little bit more of. He shoots it upper 40s from the three-point line, but he's really creative with the handle. He's shifty, he's explosive, changing gears. I'd like to see him get to the basket and be able to finish a little bit better.
So many weapons. He was in a giving mood the other day. 8 assists against Santa Clara. Manuel looking for the 3 in and out.
A lot of people don't realize just how good he was down the stretch for Gonzaga as they made their run last season.
Williams, gosh, that was too easy.
Probing in transition. Loyola doesn't stop the ball, just keep taking it to the bucket.
Not only is Williams Goss now on the Wooden Award late season top 20 watch list, but also the Bob Cousy Award. He's a finalist there. Going to the nation's top point guard. Inside of 10 to shoot, a little over 6 to go in this first half. Tosh wants a 3. They're going to live or die by that 3 line, aren't they, partner?
tell you what, third three of the night for LMU.
31-22. Zags have trailed, which has been a rarity of late. They were down 10-7 before they went on a 9-0 run. They haven't looked back since. Good move inside by Collins, and he finished quickly.
Great move. Spin away from the contact, and then his ability to extend away from the defense to the finish. Impressive. That's one reason you see quite a few NBA scouts here on the baseline watching this evening.
And he gets back as the big fella and defends and gets the block shot. Boy, defensively, isn't that going to be a great game on Saturday? College game day Saturday, St. Mary's and Gonzaga, two teams in the top 10 in the NCAA in defending. St. Mary's is second. We had that game on Saturday. They held San Diego to 27 points in the game. And the Toreros had 4 late threes.
Yes. They do a great job of taking the scouting report and making you play to your weaknesses.
Zags are 9th in the NCAA, allowing 61.7 points per game. Lob up, and Tosh couldn't throw it down. Perkins, crossover. Inside of 5 to go. Perkins with an open lane, lost it. Tilly put it on the floor and will score it.
Gonzaga's been scrambled these last few possessions. That time, Tilly comes up with a loose ball and is able to get the nice little finish.
And a steal. Nelson ahead to Tilly, got bumped by Jovanovic. And he'll go to the free throw line for 2 and took a hard fall.
He sprained his ankle about 3 weeks ago at University of Portland, missed a couple games. Looks like he landed a little bit awkwardly there. Coming up, walking gingerly to the free throw line. But you generate transition opportunities by getting stops. That time, Silas Melson do a good job fighting over the top of the pick and roll, creating a turnover, pushing it up the floor to Killian Tilly.
Already the 8th turnover of the ball game for the Lions, and that has resulted in 10 Gonzaga Bulldog points. Chance to go up 15 here with 4:33 to play. Just up the road, 5 and 10 are playing in the AP poll, Oregon and UCLA, and you got number 1 here, 11 miles away. Or the Mecca.
Yeah, I know you're a Wildcat alum, but those Oregon Ducks looked unbelievable over the weekend against Arizona. Granted, it was home.
Yeah.
Matthew Knight Arena, but
Arizona almost lost to Stanford last night. By the way, I think you owe me a dinner, don't you, from an NCAA tournament game not too long ago?
It might be true.
But I'm pulling for you guys. Here's Melson back the other way. What a great kind of Euro step. And scores it. And it's getting away from LMU. Mike Dunlap has to take another timeout. His team is down 17 with 4:01 to go. And that will take us to a break. Collins inside, starting to heat up. He's got 4. And then defensively on the other end, 17-point lead for number 1. Hey, look who's in the house with his Gilligan's Island hat on. Ronnie Turioff. He was a good defender for the Zags not too long ago. The defensive play of the game brought to you by Geico. 1 15-minute call can save you 15% or more on car insurance. It's the Zach Collins block a moment ago.
You see great reaction from the weak side to come over to block it. Definitely believe that Gonzaga has shown Ronnie Turioff defensive clips, how to rotate early, get their contest and block shots. Ronnie Turioff, a big part of this Gonzaga basketball program. He's also a celebrity of sorts here in LA after his time with the Lakers, winning titles with Kobe. Always good to see him, a teammate of mine. My senior year, he was a freshman. Always has a smile on his face.
He's already been at Gonzaga for a dozen years.
Yes.
Oh man, time flies. It seems like it was just yesterday. Zags lead by 17 inside of 4 minutes to go. Trying to get to 25-0, 24-0, the longest win streak in program history now. And it is the best start to a season in WCC play for any team since USF. And what a bucket. Tilly, and they're going to get him for the charge. And they're going to wave off the bucket.
That's a difficult one if you're Gonzaga. Great job by Shamar Johnson being willing to step in front and take the charge. He's obviously outside of the restricted circle, and it's a correct call, but Josh Perkins, understand, throwing the ball to your big in a trail position like that isn't always the best thing when there's no easy layup opportunity.
Kelvin Amayo now into the ball game. The grad transfer from Iona. Good minutes off the bench this season for Mike Dunlap's team. And it's the Hawaii transfer that scores right there. Stefan Jovanovic. He had been a starter to start the year, but he was always getting in foul trouble. So to protect him, he's been coming off the bench as the season gets deeper.
He's a good grad transfer get for the Loyola-Marymount Lions. Was a big part of Hawaii's run to the NCAA tournament last year and knocking off Cal in the first round.
And of course, they got on academic probation. And when that happened, anybody who was still there was allowed a free transfer without having to sit out. And so Jovanovic took advantage of that and came here. This is his senior year. There's Perkins at the free throw line. Zags have been to the charity stripe 14 times here in this first half.
We said that might be the case. Loyola goes 10, 11, a lot of times 12 deep. They were not going to be afraid to foul, put Gonzaga at the free throw line. Gonzaga, for the most part, has capitalized on that this evening.
They've used 11 so far. They have one more to go to get to 12. And the one guy they haven't used yet is Matthias Markussen, 7'1" freshman from Sweden. But they've used all 12 guys, Dan, for 3 consecutive games. If Mike Dunlap puts Markussen in, and he'll have done that 4 games in a row. Here's Brandon Brown to the free throw line after the Tilly foul, his 3rd. Watch live games, get scores, stats, news, and more. Download the free West Coast Conference app today from iTunes or Google Play. The WCC app now available for Apple and Android tablets and smartphones. And neither of those free throws inside of 3 minutes to go. 15-point advantage. The biggest lead of the game has been 17 for Gonzaga. It came almost 2 minutes ago. Inside to Williams. Goss got his defender off of him. The double team came, and that leaves a man open on the perimeter. Nelson misfire. Goss the offensive rebound, and Amayo had a hand in that steal. Here's Johansson. He's a fellow Swede, and he's way off the mark. Just a freshman who averages 4 points a game, and Williams Goss got hammered. Keep in mind, he's coming off the sore ankle that kept him out of the Santa Clara game, and he's getting up limping a little bit there, Dan.
Yeah, he took a good hit from the side right when he was about to take off, bracing himself to take off. Shamar Johnson just comes in, not making a play on the ball.
This is like a dump truck running you over, and I think the officials are going to look at this to see whether or not it's a flagrant one.
Absolutely. They've got to take a look at that. Johnson made no play on the ball. If you're a Gonzaga fan, you've got to be concerned about what that ankle feels like with that big showdown coming with St. Mary's this weekend. Obviously, he tweaked it against BYU when he had 33 in the win last Thursday, sat out on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's a hockey check right there.
That is a hockey check. Let's hope it's nothing serious.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get it. He should get a flagrant one here. If they're looking at what we are looking at, it doesn't matter what angle. That, yeah, no play for the ball whatsoever. I told you the Zags trying to get to 25-0. 24-0, the longest win streak in program history. WCC's best start to a season. It happened twice. Twice San Francisco went 29-0 and 55-56. They won the national championship that year. And then again, 76-77. The Dons won 29 in a row to start the year.
I think what a lot of people have to understand is to become 24-0, a lot of things have to happen. I mean, you have to stay healthy. You have to be continuing to improve. You have to go on the road and win games in difficult environments in conference, which is, I don't care what league you're in, WCC, Big West, ACC, Pac-12, it's difficult to win in opponent's gym. And then in Gonzaga's case, because they've always had the mid-major label, they have to schedule a good non-conference. They did that this year. Beat Arizona on neutral floor, went to the Advocate Invitational, beat Florida, beat Iowa State. They played a really good out-of-conference season.
I don't think this is going to be a common foul, folks. And in a moment here, I believe they're going to call this a flagrant one. So Johnson, and the official come over and will give us clarification right now. So it is going to be a flagrant one, and it sends Nigel Williams-Goss to the free throw line here. So I figured that out when no one else was around. A flagrant one. But what else did our official tell you? Anything else?
A flagrant one, not making a play on the ball. So 2 free throws, Nigel Williams-Goss, and Gonzaga ball underneath.
Shamar Johnson's a big fella. He's trying to flex his muscle here, but the Zags aren't going to back down. You just hope for the safety and well-being of Williams-Goss here moving forward for one of the conference's 2 marquee teams. Nelson, and he got it back. Karnowski has it. Williams-Goss, great fake, drive in, and he'll get a chance at the free throw line.
Yeah, but you got to love that. You get banged pretty good on the previous possession, but you're not willing to settle for the outside jumper. Shot fake, get yourself back in the lane, initiate the contact, absorb the contact, get yourself to the free throw line.
By the way, anybody notice how well Williams-Goss has played on the glass here tonight? He's got 9 of the 17 Gonzaga rebounds so far.
That's one thing that separates him from the majority of guards in the college game, is he is not just a good rebounder, but a great rebounder for a point guard.
Inside of 2 to go. Lead is 19 for Gonzaga. By the way, they've won 16 straight games by double figures. Amayo tried to make the extra pass when he probably shouldn't have, but he turned it over. 9 turnovers for LMU. Perkins just outside the free throw line came up short. And here's Amayo, just granted a 6th year by the NCAA, started his career at Marshall. Johansson. 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. What a drive by Williams-Goss. Let a defender get up over his back in Manuel. And my goodness, he has taken some contact here.
He has taken hit after hit these last few possessions. He's kind of got that old man kind of game to him. Plays at his own speed, plays his own tempo. This time gets by the defender. Little quick stop, flip fake. Gets the help side in the air. Takes the contact. Gets himself to the free throw line again.
And it's a fellow Pac-12 alum who came over the back and hammered him. He probably thought, hey man, I'm going to the WCC. How tough can this be? Coming out of the Pac-12, I'll sit out a year, I'll get surgery, I'll be ready to go. And he's finding it quite physical in this conference.
Well, this conference is a lot more physical than a lot of people expect or realize, and in particular in Gonzaga's case, it's accentuated simply for the fact that everybody gets up to play their
best effort. Yeah.
They get the crowds get into it, and now with Gonzaga having the #1 ranking, that bullseye has gotten even bigger.
Add another list to the ailments that Williams-Goss has been battling here. By the way, getting back to talking about the conference, I was shocked to see that the RPI of the WCC with 2 teams in the top 20 is 10th, and you've got the Mountain West Conference ahead and the Colonial behind you. That was simply a surprise to me from a guy who does a Mountain West Conference package on ESPN.
Mountain West Conference is probably a one big league this year. It's going to come down to who wins that conference tournament, where it looks like St. Mary's is a lock if they don't win the conference tournament. Gonzaga will obviously be a lock.
Peter Herman had the last bucket. Scores around the league here on a busy Thursday night. There are no buys or breaks this year, and everything condensed into 9 weeks. And this tonight begins the third and final week of the season, or 3 weeks remaining in the season, I guess a better way. San Diego already has more points at the half against Pacific on the road than they had in 40 minutes of basketball on Saturday against St. Mary's.
Well, we did that game last Saturday, and they're a young ball club. Only one senior on the roster, but I tell you what, I really like the direction Lamont Smith has them going in, but that was a rough one last Saturday.
And you see St. Mary's might be the team that's overlooking their Thursday night opponent as we get ready for College game day on Saturday with the Zags and St. Mary's. But there are the standings, and LMU in a tie for 6th, exactly where they were picked to finish this year. And the Zags on top, exactly where they were picked to finish. That game on Saturday, a 5:15 start on ESPN. College game day crew there from 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning from Moraga. And it's the first time the WCC has ever had 2 conference teams playing on College game day. The Zags have done it before, but it's, you know,
they've hosted, I believe it was Memphis a few years back. Spoke to Jeff Turiel, Deputy Commissioner of the WCC last week, really excited that it's going to showcase 2 teams from the league.
And Matthews from the outside. Cal transfer with 16 points against Santa Clara. Jerry West Award finalist. Amayo to Herman, no. And Karnowski has the rebound, and that's how the first half ends. That is a good first half for the Zags. 50 points. They were down 10-7 early, but are flowing right past LMU. And they have a 22-point halftime lead. And in a moment, Kelly Tennant will talk with Brian Michelson, the assistant coach of the Gonzaga Bulldogs, after the Zags have a strong finish to this first half. Let's check in with Kelly now. Kelly?
Thanks, guys. Coach, LMU with a good start in this one. What did you see from them early on?
You know, we saw some physicality and some energy, which we knew in their building, and then obviously they hit those 2 early threes that I think kind of got them going.
I know the defense is really the staple of your program. How do you turn that around?
We took away their 3s, and then I thought we really did a good job making sure we contested their 2s, and we got a couple defensive rebounds there to pull away.
Well, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, Steve.
Kelly, thank you very much. The Bulldogs behind 11 from Killian Tilly, 10 from Nigel Williams-Goss to go along with 9 rebounds in 17 minutes. He also took 8 big shots from LMU. At the half, number 1 on the road has got a big lead over LMU. Welcome back to Southern California. Number 1 Gonzaga and the LMU Lions were at half and get closer to the action at the 2015 West Coast Conference Basketball Championships in Las Vegas. Boy, they're 3 weeks away. Buy and sell your tickets through the West Coast Conference Fan Exchange. Register now for free at WCCFanExchange.com. When we return to Gersten Pavilion, a look at Saturday's schedule, and we'll give you all the particulars on College game day coming to St. Mary's on Saturday for the big Zags-Gales game. We're back to Los Angeles right after this. Time here in Los Angeles, number 1 Gonzaga and Loyola-Marymount. Southern California is the mecca of college hoops here tonight. 3 of the top 10 teams in the nation playing as we speak within 11 miles of one another here on the 405 corridor. All right, as we move on from Thursday and look ahead to Saturday, the coaches won't allow us to do it, Dan, but we're going to do it. Let's peruse that schedule. I know what stands out other than Gonzaga and St. Mary's, and we'll talk about the particulars here in a minute. Anything else stand out to you?
Well, I think BYU to stay within striking distance. If St. Mary's loses to Gonzaga, they could potentially move up into a tie for second place. So that's another one to keep your eye on, but you're absolutely right. That Gonzaga-St. Mary's showdown is the one that the majority of people will have their eyes on.
And ESPN's College game day will be there. Here are some of the particulars, because I know it is spring break for the St. Mary's students, but if kids want to come out, free pancakes in the morning. The show is from 8 to 9 in the morning, and then after that, they're going to feed you again with a barbecue in the afternoon, and that game will tip off at 5:15. You'll have Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, and that comfy little environment up there at the McEwen Pavilion. It should be a lot of fun on Saturday in the WCC. And you know, if instead, if you just want to watch Pepperdine in San Diego, well, Dan and I will be there too for your viewing pleasure as well. Don't forget about us. We'll return to Gersten Pavilion for halftime highlights, first half statistics right after this. Back in Los Angeles, #1 Gonzaga with a comfortable 22-point lead on the road tonight at Loyola-Marymount. 25-0 looks quite promising. Alongside Dan Dickau, I'm Steve Quis. Welcome back courtside here to Gersten Pavilion. It's another one of these games where you can't find anything wrong with the way Gonzaga played in that first half.
Well, I think if you want to get nitpicky, you could say they allowed an 8-0 run when Loyola-Marymount hit back-to-back threes early in that first half. But they've just attacked the game on the offensive end like a surgeon, just being very precise, getting to the free throw line 21 times, but defensively forcing LMU into 35% field goal shooting in the first half. That's a good recipe for success.
Let the record show it was the Gonzaga alum that was nitpicky in that first half. LMU, they were hanging around. They had a 10-7 lead. One of those rare times when the Zags actually trailed of late, and it was because of Brandon Brown.
Well, Brown does what he does best. Got up in transition, throwing it ahead, and then knocking down a pull-up three in transition, as well as attacking the big on a switch. But it's been all Gonzaga, and in part because of Nigel Williams-Goss finding Zach Collins over the top, probing along the baseline, but then doing what I think he does best, is in transition, probing, using drag screens, getting to the basket, finishing. Great half by him with 10 points and an impressive 9 rebounds by the point guard for Gonzaga.
Halftime statistics brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Resorts. And join us for mouthwatering steak dinner, a pampering spa treatment, or for one of our massive jackpots. The Coeur d'Alene Resort, winning is just the beginning. Points in the paint, huge. Points off of turnovers are big as well. Killian Tilly has 11 first-half points. He does have 3 fouls. And for Nigel Williams-Goss, 10 points, 9 rebounds in the first 20 minutes. He was out there for 17 minutes. He's got 2 assists as well. West Coast Conference basketball brought to you in part by Numerica Credit Union and by the W.TV. All the action, anytime, anywhere. Back in L.A., Gonzaga by 22, about to start the second half of play. Let's check in with Kelly Tennant, who got a chance to speak with LMU head coach Mike Dunlap a moment ago. Kelly?
Yeah, guys, Mike obviously frustrated, but telling me that defensively they have to stop fouling. This is what this game has come down to. And I asked him about Brandon Brown and his contributions and what he needs from him. He said it comes back to defense again on that. We can't get beat back. We have to have some balance so that he's able to get into a rhythm.
Thank you, Kelly. No looking ahead to Saturday's showdown with St. Mary's for the Bulldogs, but the same can't be said for St. Mary's. Last check, they were down to Portland at home by 1 point, 29-28.
That's shocking. Alec Wintering, point guard for University of Portland, is out with a torn ACL. He was a do-it-all guard for them. They've gone basically to a 6-man rotation and slowing the game down.
Zach shot 57.7% of that first half. And Brown drives in. Some length in front of him, so he gives it up to Herman. His big contribution in the first half was 3 block shots. Offensive rebound, which we already established LMU does particularly well. Second in the conference with 11 a game, behind only Pacific. This time Williams-Goss has it, starts transition back the other way. We'll see if LMU can stop him.
10 rebounds now on the night. Double-double for the point guard.
And a turnover. Yeah, and he's only been on the floor for 18 minutes. Taking some big hits, though, too. And you wonder how much longer he'll stay out there as you try and rest some of these legs for College game day and the big one at 5:15 on Saturday against the Gales.
You know, we talked a little bit about, you know, the Gonzaga's best teams for Coach Few in the past have been ones that have had multiple ball handlers, decision makers at the guard spots. The thing that differentiates these two in Perkins and Goss, as Toch misses the three, is they have size that the other backcourts in Gonzaga in history have not had.
There's a great pass, Goss, and a foul will be called as Williams tried to score it. If you're thinking about triple doubles tonight, I'm not sure Williams-Goss will be on the floor long enough, but he has 2 assists.
Well, I would hope that he wouldn't be
me too.
in the game at that point if you're a Gonzaga fan. That would mean LMU has climbed back into it.
You know, I'm thinking we did that St. Mary's game on Saturday in which St. Mary's won 71-27. And really that big beatdown on San Diego might have got them a little bit out of rhythm. Nobody played more than 25 minutes. You know, guys like Rayhan and Nar, who are used to being out there for 37 minutes with all the assists and everything, really, I mean, they could have sleptwalked through that game, and they still haven't woken up yet here.
It's a double-edged sword for two teams like that who, for the most part, have kind of really dominated games here in league. Is you want to keep your starters in your rotation fresh, and you want to keep them, as Jovanovic has a nice left-handed finish, you want to keep them engaged and fresh with what they're doing while you're also able to develop a bench.
A little sloppy start to the second 20 minutes for the Zags as they turn it over. They only had 6 turnovers in the first half. And we've got a couple of quick ones here in the opening 2 minutes of this second half. And the Zags did trail early on at 10-7 as Shamar Johnson carries the straightaway jumper for 2. They hadn't trailed in 13 halves, 266 minutes until last Saturday against Santa Clara. Santa Clara had a Nate Prax 3 to take a 5-4 lead. And that was the first time they trailed in a long time. Count it, Jovanovic. Nigel Williams-Goss took the contact again.
We've talked about it a number of times now. Having 2 ball handlers, 2 decision makers. That time, Josh Perkins setting up Nigel Williams-Goss on the backdoor cut for the nice finish. Here you see coming off the pick and roll, no big for the show. Touch loses sight of Nigel Williams-Goss. That's an easy decision. Cut back door, good find, good finish, chance for the 3-point play.
Nigel Williams-Goss averaging 15.6 points per game, almost 5 assists. His 4.8 assists, 5th in the WCC, which always has really good in the giving mood point guards. Right, Rayhan leads the conference with 6 a game. Nar 5.7 a game.
I think the most impressive thing about the point guards in St. Mary's is their assist to turnover ratio.
That's a good point.
Nar is seemingly top 10 in the country, again leading the conference in assist to turnover ratio, as Gonzaga creates another turnover for the Lions. They get the switch, and you rightfully attack the big, but then you got to be aware of the help side defender. That time, Perkins knocking it off of Patch's knee.
Well, that was almost like a hockey power play, for goodness sakes, with Jordan Matthews. Everyone was back trying to defend in the backcourt. Foul is going to be called against Peter Herman. That's his second.
Got to give Herman a lot of credit. He's battled valiantly on the low blocks against these Zag bigs. Only his 6th start on the season, 3 block shots in that first half. But when you don't play big minutes, as he has not throughout the year, it's tough to come in and really be effective on both ends of the floor against these Gonzaga big men.
Lions with 3 team fouls in the opening 3 minutes, something we touched upon. They've got to clean that up. They already have 18 fouls in this game. They have 15 first half fouls, and it's really gotten them in trouble. They can't get a rhythm. They've used so many different starting lineups because they've tried to protect guys like Jovanovic from getting into foul trouble. And so they've never really been able to get into a rhythm, and that's part of the reason why they're 4-8 in the conference, and they've played so many close games. They call them the Cardiac Lions. They've had 11 games decided in the last 10 seconds this season. They're 4-7 in those games, and they've played 6 games decided by just a point. Herman. That's a good move by Kardowski there. The laser beam off the backboard.
The laser beam is right. That probably did not get over 11 feet. Almost a rocket shot off the glass.
Williams-Goss creates his own shot, but in doing so, pushed away Boyd Tosh for an offensive foul. That's the first on Williams-Goss. 3rd turnover for him. And here comes Brandon Brown, the Phoenix College transfer. The guy really turned his life around after getting in legal trouble in high school. Given a second chance in college basketball. And they're going to call a foul, much to the dismay of Mike Dunlap. Oh my goodness, that's going to be an offensive foul against Loyola-Marymount.
Brandon Brown probing on the baseline. Little pitch to Toch in the corner, but continues running into the way of Nigel Williams-Goss, who may have sold it just a little bit.
Second foul on Brown. Third time he's turned the basketball over. 11 turnovers for the Lions have resulted in 13 points for Gonzaga, who's done everything good in the game. I mean, you're talking about points in the paint. They're up over 2 dozen. Points off the turnovers, they're over a dozen. The bench has scored 20 points, all of those in the first half. Perkins slings it right into the middle. And with a left hand, Jonathan Williams gets it to go down. You see why he's shooting 63% in WCC play?
He's quietly put together a heck of a season. The transfer from Missouri kind of has been lost in the noise because of all the attention that Nigel Williams-Goss has gotten as a transfer, but he was a productive player in the SEC at Missouri. He stepped right into the starting lineup, averaging close to 10 points, almost 6 rebounds a game.
Mike Dunlap's going to talk to the officials right here and say, come on, what do I need to do? My team's down. All these fouls, my goodness.
We give back as much as we receive to our teammates, our coaches, to our fans, and to our sports, to our teachers, our schools, and our communities. Giving back, it isn't just something we do, it's who we are.
There's something bigger in store for each of us here, and it unfolds over time. Across every page, around every corner, our purpose lies straight ahead, and our future stretches out forever before us.
Gonzaga with their biggest lead of the game. They've got a 24-point advantage. Let's check in with Kelly Tennant.
4-point advantage and a 24-game winning streak, the longest in the nation right now, guys. When I spoke with their assistant, Donnie Daniels, earlier this morning, he said, you know, the interesting thing about this group is that you don't expect to go on that kind of winning streak. We come in every day, like I mentioned earlier, and they're just here to do their job. He said, we didn't foresee this, but coming in and not having a star and playing very selfless basketball is what we are about, and that's something that this team has bought into from day one, guys.
Thanks, Kelly. Stephen Haney just nailing a three, the fourth of the game for LMU. It's now a 21-point advantage. LMU not shooting the ball particularly poorly here in the second half. They've got a lot of points to make up against a very good defensive team. Karnowski just backs in on Herman, and Johnson knocked it away. They got the takeaway.
Good hands there by Shamar Johnson, but if you're at LMU and you're going to let Shimon Karnowski back you down, he's going to put you in a difficult position.
Perkins fouls Brandon Brown. Seventh time that Loyola-Marymount has played the #1 team in the nation. They have lost them all, but the first time #1's ever been in this particular building. Lions happy to be home. They're home after 6 of their last 8, including their last 3 were on the road. They're going to finish up 4 of 6 at home, but it might be too little too late. Haney for back-to-back 3.
Tilly got caught on the inside. Not fully committed to cracking down on the opposite big. Not able to get out and contest the 3 in time.
Haney's 3 of 4 from the outside. He's got 9 points in 16 minutes. The Central Florida transfer. Tilly had 11 first-half points and 3 fouls. Nelson passes inside to Karnowski, and another 3-second violation on the big 7'1" senior from Poland.
Well, it's interesting how sometimes when you see the ball go through the basket on back-to-back possessions, you get energized on the defensive end. I don't think a lot of coaches like that, but this time, Loyola-Marymount back-to-back threes, the defensive intensity is picked up.
Shimmick playing in his 138th game as a Bulldog. Herman against Karnowski, and a foul. A little bit of a run in late life here for LMU at home with 14:10 to go. Can they sustain it?
Well, not only have they hit back-to-back threes, but in this second half, they've done a much better job of spacing the floor and trying to put Shimmick Karnowski in isolation where he has to guard around the nail area. It's a difficult cover for him as a big.
Here's Herman at the free throw line. After the miss, gives us a chance to tell you while you watch West Coast Conference action. Join the conversation using the hashtag WCC Hoops. And for the latest news, scores, and more, follow WCC Hoops on Twitter. Gonzaga's had a tough time in the second half protecting the basketball. An uncharacteristic 6 turnovers here in the first 6 minutes of the second half. LMU will do that to you. They're tops in the league, turning over opponents 14 times a game.
Well, they're scrappy defensively. They get after you. They change their defensive looks up.
Open look there for Jordan Matthews. The Cal graduate transfer shot wouldn't go down. Offensive board for Collins. And Tilly just got shoved by Shamar Johnson. Boy, Shamar is...
Shoved is an understatement. He is like a football defensive end in there at times, creating some havoc, knocking guys around.
That's like me trying to get to the Sizzler buffet right here. Look, the last corn muffin is out, and I'm shoving everyone away. Third foul on Johnson. He's out of Pensacola, Florida, and Pensacola State, that's a junior college. And averages almost 9 points, 5 boards a game. Tilly, straightaway 3 off the mark. LMU's got another chance to cut into the lead further. After the Zags built their biggest lead of 24, Haney had back-to-back threes to get it down to 18. Matthias Markison is now into the ball game, so full 12 guys were in fact used in the first half by Mike Dunlap. Markison came in for the final few seconds of that first half. Sets a screen high, 2-2 drives in and turns it over on the bounce. Back the other way comes Matthews, and he lays it in. Well, that's a nice move and good finish by Jordan Matthews.
That's a heck of a finish in transition. That is not the strongest part of his game, but the ability that time to finish with 2 Lions chasing him down on the break, impressive.
You see that on the cement courts right up the road in Venice more times than you see it in the college game. 20-point lead, and Haney again. He's getting hot. 3 consecutive threes. Came in with a team-high 43 threes, and his percentage was in the 30s. But he's got 4 threes in this game. He's keeping LMU in it. Timeout on the floor. Zags still in command.
With this level of intelligence, it's a supercomputer. With this grade of protection, it's a fortress. And with this standard of luxury, it's an oasis. Introducing the completely redesigned E-Class. It's everything you need it to be, and more. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
At Wingstop, we don't just make wings. We make wings worth obsessing over. Because every order is made fresh. We don't start until you say go. And we'll make sure that it'll be worth that wait. Just like we've been doing for more than 20 years. From atomic to lemon pepper, we make flavors artists rap about. We make it our way, and in doing so, make it irresistible. Nah, we don't just make wings. We only make wings. Wingstop, the wing experts.
The 2017 Nissan Altima. With award-winning safety and forward emergency braking that could stop for you. Take on sudden stops in Nissan Sentra, Altima, and Maxima with intelligent safety shield technologies. Get to your local Nissan store today for 0% financing for up to 72 months or save up to $45.50 on the 2017 Altima.
Bulldogs on the road, out in front by 17 with 12:38 to go. The play of the game brought to you by Rockwood Health System. Working together for you as Jordan Matthews lay in just a moment ago off the steal.
Oh, great job there on the weak side defense to get in the gaps. Comes up with a steal and then the ability to finish with two Lions chasing him down from behind. Oh, and it's with the offhand. Jordan Matthews. Nice finish, play of the game.
That's 6 steals tonight for Gonzaga. Points off of turnovers, and the Bulldogs have 17 points off of 12 LMU turnovers.
And so much has been talked about Nigel Williams-Goss, and rightfully so, because of the way he has really kind of excelled this year in the new role at Gonzaga. But you got to give a lot of credit to the other transfers in Jonathan Williams, but also Jordan Matthews, as Goss throws it up over the top to Collins, who gets fouled. But Jordan Matthews averaged over 13 a game at Cal the last 2 years, was a big-time piece to what they did get into the NCAA tournament. And he comes into Gonzaga as a grad transfer and has blended seamlessly as another scoring weapon. And you've got to give him a lot of credit.
Such a hard team to guard. They average 85 points per game. That's 12th in the NCAA. 51% field goal shooting, 3rd in the conference, 17th, that's actually 3rd in the nation, 17th in the nation with 17 assists a game. The highest margin of victory anywhere in NCAA at almost 24 points per game. +7 in rebounding, 38% on threes. It's hard to find a weakness for Gonzaga. They've got the showdown coming up against St. Mary's. While LMU's making a comeback here, at last check, St. Mary's was starting to pull away against pesky Portland at home. It's now a 9-point game with 3:34 to go. And the Gales' defense again is going to limit an opponent, it looks like, to less than 45 points. Johnson. Nelson has the rebound. Ahead it goes. Tilly. No foul called, but Collins with a follow-up with the throwdown.
Good job not dying on the play. Collins cleaning it up with a finish of his own.
64-43. Brandon Brown, penetration, found a shot. Johnson fighting for the offensive rebound. They're going to call a tie-up with the possession arrow pointing toward the Bulldogs. And that takes us to a break. 11:29 to go in regulation from Gersten Pavilion here in Los Angeles. It is the Gonzaga Bulldogs 64, the LMU Lions 43.
Safe drivers who switch to Esurance could save money on car insurance. You know, the kind of driver who always buckles up, comes to a complete stop, and looks both ways no matter what. Because Esurance believes that's the kind of driver who deserves to save money on car insurance. In fact, safe drivers who switch from Geico to Esurance could save hundreds. So if you switch to Esurance, saving is a pretty safe bet. Auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call.
Announcing Easy Rest's Win-A-Bed Sweepstakes. Call now for 6 free chances to win an Easy Rest adjustable bed.
With heat and built-in massage?
That's right.
And anyone can win?
Absolutely anyone. Just pick up your phone and make this toll-free call to be automatically entered 6 different times into the Easy Rest Sweepstakes. There's absolutely no obligation. So call to win this electrically adjustable bed in the size of your choice now.
There's no cost?
No cost.
And no obligation?
None.
So what's the catch?
There's no catch. We're giving away an adjustable bed every month in order to promote the health benefits of this modern way to rest and sleep. To get our free catalog by mail and 6 free chances to win, call now. So what are you waiting for? There's no cost, no catch, no obligation. Call now for your 6 free chances to win an Easy Rest adjustable bed.
Call 1-800-975-9011. That's 800-975-9011.
Zags defense is in the top 10 in almost every statistical category in the country through 24 games, and they're showing us why they're so good. 6 steals, 12 turnovers, leading to 17 points.
Well, I think one of the things that makes them so good defensively is they take the scouting report and they react to it. On every pass, on every dribble, the team moves in unison to take away driving lanes, to take away passing angles, and then they'll push it in transition, which is the last part that good defensive teams do. They capitalize by getting onto the offensive end quickly.
You know, not to stat you to death, but this bears repeating because it's going to lead into the St. Mary's game where you're going to see 2 top 10 defensive teams. But again, the Zags 9th in NCAA basketball in scoring defense at 61.7 allowed to opponents. Field goal defense 2nd at 36.9. 3-point field goal defense 7th at 29%. And then you break it down in conference play, they're only allowing opponents in the WCC to score 59 points per game. And St. Mary's starting to pull away with 2:27 to go. Another stellar defensive effort for St. Mary's. Offensively, I'm not sure Randy Bennett's happy about that.
Biggest lead of the game at 7 points with just over 2 minutes left, but not necessarily surprised that it's a low-scoring affair. Maybe that it's in the 40s, but St. Mary's plays at the 2nd slowest pace in the country as Peter Herman continues a nice play tonight with a little jump hook to the middle.
And he's got 8. No, that's a good point. I mean, they use up out of, what, 355 or 56 teams in NCAA. They're 350th in time of possession, so they don't shoot until 21 seconds comes off the clock.
They do a really good job spacing the floor, getting into the actions they want, whether it's a post-up for Jock Landale or pick and rolls with Rayhan and Nar.
Goss has 15 to go along with the 10 rebounds. Still only has 2 assists. It doesn't look like there'll be a triple-double. He had a double-double quickly to start the second half of play. So St. Mary's defensively is 2nd in the country in scoring defense, behind only Virginia. And the Gales are allowing 56.6 points per game. Now that's going to go down a tad bit after what they're doing to Portland tonight. It certainly went down just a little bit with what they did to San Diego on Saturday, where the Toreros had 9 first-half points at home and 27 for the game. Brown misfires. Nelson runs down the rebound right in front of the Lions bench. Trevor Manuel went down hard. Collins got it stripped away by Brandon Brown. Here come the Lions in transition. Tosh has been quiet in this game, but buries the 3 there.
You got to give LMU a lot of credit. They're not going away. They're fighting on the defensive end. They're playing with some poise on the offensive end, and they've knocked down a number of 3s here in the second half. That's their 4th.
Williams Goss, and disrupting things was Herman. It's going to stay with the Zags. No, it's a good point. A number of times at home this year, LMU has not gone away. You go all the way back to November the 17th against UConn, a 1-possession game. The Huskies were playing on this floor on a stopover to Hawaii for a tournament. Then they had an 18-point lead against BYU in this building with a 99% pro BYU crowd, and they almost beat St. Mary's here as well. And with the left hand, Jonathan Williams with another bucket.
That's the next evolution in Zach Collins' game, is recognizing the double team and being able to deliver the ball to a teammate on target.
Another 3, Brandon Brown for LMU. That's 8 3-pointers in 16 attempts, and Brown has a pair of triples. Bodies go falling on the inbound, and now a whistle is blown. And they're going to get Trevor Manuel. 17-point game inside of 9 to go. 18 foul against the Lions, so there's going to be a 1-and-1 on the other end. Williams Goss at the line.
Could have been a foul on either Silas Melson or McClendon there. And then
that's why Manuel
gets kind of the tick attack.
Yeah, the other guy knocked each other into oblivion, and you call me on that?
We're going to have a continuous march to the free throw line for the Zags. Shot 21 free throws in the first half. Already in the bonus with 9 minutes left.
And that was the fourth on Manuel, who by far is their lengthiest player, their most athletic guy. At 6'9", the Oregon transfer sophomore, and his numbers really are not indicative of the kind of talent he has or where he'll be. I think we'll be back in this building in a couple of years, and during his senior year, he will be a big presence.
Well, he's got good length. He can score it on the outside for a big wing in the WCC, and you see his ability to rebound the basketball, in particular, out of his area.
He's just bounced around a lot of different high schools and colleges. Never really had a steady environment as Brown misfires. Transition back the other way. Herman with his fourth block, but Williams-Goss is right there to clean it up.
Right place, right time. And you're not going to turn away those 2 points.
(72-51), back to a 21-point advantage. And boy, Tosh trying to do too much. And results in a slam dunk opportunity on the other end for Matthews. He's fouled. He'll go to the line for 2.
Jordan Matthews got the foul call that time, but the previous possession, he was looking over at the referee like, what about that play? He has every right. It looked like he got fouled on the last possession, but he's got to be careful in exposing himself when he goes up, knowing that he's going to get fouled in an awkward angle.
Jeffrey McClendon fouls him. He's a 6'3" sophomore from nearby Pasadena. We'll get closer to the action at the 2017 West Coast Conference Basketball Championships in Las Vegas. Buy and sell your tickets through the West Coast Conference Fan Exchange. Register now for free at WCCFanExchange.com. It's coming up quickly. After this week, there's only 2 more weeks to go in the regular season before the conference tournament begins March the 2nd through the 7th at Orleans Arena.
It's hard to believe. We're creeping up on March Madness.
No breaks this year, 9 weeks, playing Thursday and Saturday. And then, of course, going a week earlier than most any other team. There's an offensive foul. You know, in years past, from time to time, Mark Few would schedule a game between the NCAA tournament and the WCC tournament. He hasn't done that in a while, has he?
No, they haven't had the ability to do that the way the schedules broke out. They also, in years past, had tried to schedule a game with a team against like a Memphis. They haven't been able to do that as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to play the Zags, especially at the kennel these days. 74-51, 7:59 to go in regulation.
We give back as much as we receive to our teammates, our coaches, to our fans, and to our sports, to our teachers, our schools, and our communities. Giving back, it isn't just something we do, it's who we are.
back inside Gersten Pavilion, where a #1 team is paying visit for the first time ever in the history of this pavilion, and it's the #1 ranked Bulldogs out in front. 74-51. Time for our sub of the game, and you may not realize it, but many Subway sandwich shops are locally owned by people in your neighborhood, and barbershops as well. Mr. Tilley there off the bench with 11 points. Our sub of the game.
Killian Tilley, 11 points, 4 rebounds on the night. A bucket away from a new career high. He has really risen to the occasion here tonight, with Zach Collins in particular getting into early foul trouble.
All 11 of Tilley's points came in the first half on 3 of 3 shooting. He's missed his only 2 field goal opportunities of this second half. They're about to go final up in Moraga, and 20th ranked St. Mary's is a 9-point, making a 10-point lead now, and it just did go final. 51-41, so another great defensive effort by the Gales, who are now 12-1 in the conference, 22-2 overall. As Nigel Williams-Goss goes to the free throw line, a point away from 20 on the night. He's got 19-11. A late addition to the Wooden Watch late season. And actually, Jonathan Williams is the guy who's supposed to shoot, so Goss is going to stick on 19 for a while.
A crafty move there by Nigel Williams-Goss. Hey, I'll take 2 points. I'll take two free throws, which Jonathan Williams struggles from the free throw line, 61% on the year. Probably a smart point guard decision there, but Jonathan Williams says, you know what, I'll end up taking these 2 and to my point total.
So let's handicap this Player of the Year award and your thoughts on it. Of course, it's, you know, both of us are West Coast biased. You going to Gonzaga, myself at Arizona. We always want to see the West Coast guys win it, but know that games are played late on the East Coast. You know, guys don't always get to see it, and you don't always get a fair shake on the West Coast.
No, you don't. You got to look back to Adam Morrison, J.J. Redick's season in 06, where they were co-players of the year, and Adam Morrison was literally a rock star, averaged about 26 points a game. J.J. Redick did an amazing job at Duke that season. Nigel Williams-Goss just having a different impact on this Gonzaga team. They're undefeated, as we obviously have talked about a number of times tonight, but his impact is felt in more than just the scoring column.
Nelson with a floater. He gets that to go down. He's got 7 points. He averages 8. Junior from Portland, Oregon. Here's Amayo, the Iona transfer. 6th season of NCAA basketball. Been riddled by injuries, and the guy who started his career at Marshall. Well, that length in front of Munis Tutu. Jonathan Williams there. Oh, and boy, Tosh showing his athleticism. The senior averages 12 a game. And Zach Collins is down and is slow to get up.
And Tosh with an unbelievable finish over the top. That will be seen on SportsCenter for sure tonight. But when you are a rim protector like Zach Collins is, at some point you're going to get caught. That time he got caught. Took a little bit of a fall. Hopefully he's okay, but give credit to Boy Tosh.
Might be the most improved guy on this LMU roster. He couldn't do that last year. They've got a big monitor here. I think the monitor's 2 years old, and the fans are reacting to seeing that on the big screen. Now the officials are going back to look at this. See if maybe there was some extracurricular activity. I don't think they're going to be able to find anything. Mike Dunlap's getting an explanation. I have to apologize. I didn't hear what the public address announcer said. He did mention something here.
Well, usually when there's a break in the action and they take another look at it, or there's some confusion, they'll come over and explain it to us so we can relay that to the viewers.
Yeah, they're 1-2 tonight. We got to thank them for the first flagrant one.
That is true.
Sometimes they go 0 for. Try to feed the post, and Nelson turns it over on the bounce pass inside. Amayo has it. And that's LMU turning it back over again. That'll be their 15th of the night. And right there, they tied Gonzaga for turnovers. Zags have turned it over 15 times.
It's not like Gonzaga. Average 11 turnovers a game on the season, especially with two primary ball handlers in Goss and Perkins. You wouldn't expect that to be a problem, but it has been tonight.
Tilly feeds Matthews, and he'll go to the free throw line. Gonzaga's already in the double bonus, so we got 2 shots coming the rest of the way out to the final 6:13.
The parade to the free throw line continues for Gonzaga.
College game day coming up Saturday. First time ever that it's going to showcase 2 WCC teams playing one another at a WCC venue, and it's the 14th straight week that both teams have been ranked in both polls. And St. Mary's just won a few moments ago. They're the first final in of the night, 51-41. So the Gales will be 12-1 coming into that one, 22-2 overall. First time around, it was all Gonzaga, 79-56. That was on January the 14th up in Spokane.
And I expect a lot better fight out of St. Mary's second time around. Granted, it's at home, but Jock Landale picked up 3 quick fouls in that first half. Never got into a rhythm. And St. Mary's seemingly threw in the towel midway through the second half, which is not like them at all.
Zach Collins with a block of Stefan Jovanovic, the Hawaii transfer. 5:15 start on Saturday. Again, it's going to be spring break in St. Mary's. If I had to go back to school, I think I'll go to St. Mary's. Early spring break. Jovanovic, slam dunk on the pass from Herman. So they're hoping to get some kids up. Going to bribe them with pancakes and a barbecue. Nelson with a floater. Won't go down this time.
I've never heard of bribing college kids with pancakes, but hopefully it works, creates a raucous environment.
Oh, it will. It'll have them going down that small country road in Moraga as if they're going to the Field of Dreams. Here's Herman. 25-point advantage. Herman backing in on Collins.
It's another area.
Been a busy man.
It's another area where Collins' game has really improved over the course of the season. His ability to stand up the big as he's being backed down.
Brian Alberts inserted into the ball game. He's from nearby Northridge in the LA area. I think they went to Village Christian High School. McClendon for a spot up 3. Tilley's got a rebound. Fifth board of the night for Killian Tilley. Good to see Collins back out there grinding out the end of this one. Doesn't look like any damage from the Boytosh dunk on him, and that time Collins couldn't finish.
They'd like to have that one back.
He rarely misses. Again, 66% from the field, so that's his one, right?
3 for 5 from the field for tonight, so his average will go down slightly, which is hard to believe. You shoot 60% and it's below your average.
Brandon Brown, a crafty senior guard who won a national championship in the JUCO ranks a couple of years ago, knows how to get to the free throw line, especially late in games, so he's going there now with 4:19 to go. And LMU's not been to the free throw line that much tonight. This will be just their 7th free throw of the night, but they're shooting at 50%, and that will go down below 50. And we mentioned they're last in the WCC in free throw shooting at 61%.
It goes along with their struggles in winning close games. You love the fight, you love the resiliency that Coach Dunlap's ball club has shown, but when you don't shoot free throws at a good clip, it's going to hurt you in the end.
No, it's a great point, because we had established this earlier, but the Cardiac Lions, as they call them, 11 games decided in the last 10 seconds this season, and they're 4-7 in those games. A little better free throw shooting, and you might be 9-2 and have a complete turnaround instead of sitting here at 11-12 in the middle of the pack in the conference. You might be like a 15-8 and in the discussion for a top 4 finish.
Well, you want to try to get into the top 4, because then, actually, if you want to do 3 if you can, because then you won't be matched up against Gonzaga in the semifinals of the conference tournament.
I think 3's a little bit ambitious for LMU, although earlier this season they played like a team that could finish in the 3rd spot, and Collins has a 3.
I would agree with you. That is over-ambitious for Loyola this season, but we talked about Santa Clara, we talked about San Francisco, BYU, all kind of right there, 3, 4, 5 positioning going into the conference tournament.
Shamar Johnson just missed a chipping. Zags have 5 players tonight in double figures after Collins buried the 3. And a steal inside. Hachimura, the freshman from Japan. Rui Hachimura turned that one over. Getting some valuable minutes at the end of the game. Manuel playing with 4 fouls. See his athleticism right there. That's what they expect him to do with fervor the next 2 years. And a foul on Alberts, the hometown kid, on the drive. He'll be at the free throw line when we come back. Sure, his parents and friends are in the house here tonight. Boyd Tosh with this huge dunk for LMU. It's been their highlight tonight. Other than that, it's been all Gonzaga.
Outside the Roosevelt, in the shadows of Washington Peak, at the Polk Trailhead, or wading through the Madison River. Flex your freedom the way all of our great presidents intended at the Jeep President's Day event. Hurry in for great deals. Right now, get $5,000 total cash allowance on the 2017 Jeep Cherokee.
At Wingstop, we don't just make wings. We make wings worth obsessing over. Because every order is made fresh. We don't start until you say go. And we'll make sure that it'll be worth that wait. Just like we've been doing for more than 20 years. From atomic to lemon pepper, we make flavors artists rap about. We make it our way, and in doing so, make it irresistible. Nah, we don't just make wings. We only make wings. Wingstop, the wing experts.
Laker fans, want more exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access to your favorite team? Then follow Spectrum SportsNet on social media. Go to facebook.com/Spectrum SportsNet or find us at Spectrum SN on Twitter and Spectrum SportsNet on Instagram. Tomorrow on Spectrum SportsNet, catch Mason and Ireland as they cover the best in Southern California sports.
Talking Lakers and a bunch more.
Catch the leading voices in LA sports tomorrow starting at noon, only on Spectrum SportsNet.
Gonzaga is 259 away from their 10th consecutive 25-win season, but it has been a physical game, so they're taking some body blows here to get to 25-0.
We kind of expected that going into tonight. LMU is going to go 12 deep. They aren't afraid of playing physical, but if you're Gonzaga, you're going to definitely take an extra couple of minutes tomorrow with the trainer. Make sure you're ready for that showdown with St. Mary's on Saturday. A number of guys have taken big-time hits this evening, that's for sure.
Ryan Alberts, 6'5" redshirt sophomore from Northridge, California, played for Village Christian High School. They were state champs a few years ago up in Sacramento. I think he was part of that team. Averages 2 points per game. He's at the free throw line.
This shows you just how deep this Gonzaga team is. Alberts started a number of games a season ago. He had a vital role early last season. This year, he struggled to crack the rotation, but he's a heck of a shooter. He's got good size. He's a good defender.
Mark Hughes played 13 tonight. I would assume that's everybody he brought.
Everybody except for Rem Bakamus.
Oh, that's right. Who, by the way, Rem Bakamus and Shimmick Karnowski were part of that 2013 #1 ranked team. So they're the only 2 guys on the roster right now that have enjoyed being #1 twice in their Gonzaga Bulldog stay. Alberts once more. Manuel, I think, touched it last. No, they're going to say it's off Gonzaga. 2:29 to go. St. Mary's has won, setting up the showdown, and the Zags going to be 25-0 here shortly. The Pacific San Diego game is 44 seconds away from going final, but San Diego has come back to pull within 2 of the Tigers. That's in Stockton tonight. Here's a Mayo pass over the top, and Matthias Markusen got it blocked. Manuel out for 3, no, and a foul underneath.
You got 2 big fellas there, Markusen and Ryan Edwards, junior from Kalispell, Montana, tangled up underneath. Tell you what, each of these Loyola-Marymount Lions has come ready to play physical this evening. But if there's one Zag who's as big as any of them, it's Ryan Edwards.
Zag's ready to get on a plane and get out of here. And here is the aforementioned Ryan Edwards. Let's look at the Zag schedule. And it's brought to you by Alaska Airlines. Enjoy low fares to over 100 amazing destinations, including Costa Rica and New York City. Book now at alaskaair.com. You saw the St. Mary's game, and then going to wind up closing it out with 3 of their final 4 games at the Kennels. San Francisco Pacific. You travel to San Diego, and then BYU at home. So it's looking pretty good for a 5th unbeaten WCC season. They were unbeaten in 04, 06, 09, and 2013, and it looks like it'll be here this year as well. But still one big one to go on Saturday. Munis Tutu with 1:27 to go. 86-58. 8 3-point makes here in the game for LMU. And count it. That is Jeremy Jones, the Rice transfer.
He's an interesting story. Played football at Rice as a quarterback. His true calling, he felt his love was basketball. He was on the Rice basketball team, decided to transfer to Gonzaga. He's a player who has struggled early this season because of a high ankle sprain, missed a lot of time, but the coaches like his defensive ability. And he's got a soft touch from the outside. Just with the depth of this Gonzaga team, it's hard to find him minutes.
I was going to say, you know, you're closer to the program certainly than I am, living in Spokane, but you might think that some of those practices on Monday and Tuesday might be more difficult than some of the games that they face on Thursday and Saturday. When you got scout team guys that are transfers from the likes of Rice. Here's Alberts. Drive it in, creates a shot, and we'll go right back to the free throw line with 47.5 to go.
That's one thing Coach Few has always done a really good job of creating a culture of competitiveness in practice, whether it's shooting competitions, whether it's scrimmage opportunities, whether it's even 2-on-2, 3-on-3 drill work. There is always a competitive aspect in every drill and every part of practice, and it serves you well once you get in the regular season.
Amayo has the rebound. See if the Bulldogs can drop another 90 here on another opponent this year. It just seems like a rarity. They're going to have a 17th consecutive win by double figures. Enjoying their second #1 ranking in school history. Back in 13, they held that for the first 3 weeks of March before losing in the NCAA tournament. This time it appears like they're going to hold it a lot longer. Of course, you got to take care of business. 5:15 on Saturday. Game of the year in the conference. And count the basket. Rui Hachimura, the freshman from Japan.
Just a glimpse of his athletic ability. I personally feel he has an incredible future. And I think he's got NBA talent, NBA athleticism, learning the culture here as an 18-year-old coming over from Japan. But the sky's the limit for that young man.
And Edwards got the assist. LMU content to dribble this thing out. 90 points again for Gonzaga, and they're going to drop another 90 on Loyola-Marymount. They scored 93 up at the Kennel almost a full month ago, and that's how it ends. Gonzaga did trail 10-7 at the first media timeout. Came out guns a-blazing in that second segment and blew right past LMU on their way to a 30-point victory. Tonight's player of the game brought to you by A to Z Rentals, where no job is too big or too small. Let A to Z Rentals be your most valuable player. And, of course, it has to go to Nigel Williams-Goss, a double-double, 19 points and 11 rebounds in the game for a guy that this week was placed on the Wooden Award late-season top 20 watch list. And that's going to do it from Kirsten Pavilion. Number one comes into this building for the first time ever and has a 30-point win for our tremendous crew down here in Southern California. My broadcast partner, Dan Dickcow, and the third member of our team, Kelly Tennant. I'm Steve Quis, bidding you farewell from Southern California. 90-60, the Bulldogs